Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I wanted to do a very quick sort of no makeup look, and this is the look that I wear when I don't really want to take a lot of time putting something on my face, but I do want to look a little bit better than what I look right now. So I'm only going to be using, let me just have a look here, six products, with the option of adding in a powder, but I'm only going to be putting on some foundation, a little bit of highlight, my brows, a little bit of something on the lid, and my mascara. And this is just my sort of go-to look when I want something that looks nice and fresh and natural, but I also don't want to take more than at least 10 minutes to do it. And I can usually do this very quickly. I am going to start just by popping up on a bit of moisturiser. If you need to use a primer, you go for primer. You can use a mattifying one, you can use a smoothing one. When I'm doing what I'm doing, which is using no brushes at all, I'm just going to apply anything with my I'm not going to be using any brushes, and I like to give my skin a little bit something smooth and slightly sticky, but so that it slips over the skin very nicely, as moisturiser does. So I'm just going to blend that into my skin. There are days where I'm not in the mood to put foundation on at all, and then I'll usually go for a primer instead, and I tend to use my Smashbox one, the green one, because it smooths out my skin and makes it look a little bit less bumpy. But today I do want to sort of cover and even out my skin a bit, so I'm going to take, I think, a pump of my Loreal True Match. This is in 1W, which is Golden Ivory, which is a bit too dark, but I am going to apply it with my fingers, and then it shears out the coverage, but it also makes it blend into the skin so much nicer. But when I'm not wearing foundation, there are days where I just pop a tiny bit of concealer underneath my eyes and on any new spots that I have, just to sort of even it out a little bit. But as you can see, it doesn't add tons of coverage. It just evens my skin out a little bit. And this has also got more of a sort of yellow undertone, and that does give me the slightest illusion of a tan, which is also nice, because I don't really tan that much in the summer. Like, to the point I don't even have to switch foundation shades. I stay pale all year round, but this does give the slightest illusion that there is a little bit of colour to my skin. And when I work it in with my fingers, I do find that it tends to set, and it has a little bit more of a drying look than it does when I use a sponge or a brush. So I don't have to set this with a powder, but if you have to set it with a powder, you can. And I think I might go and set certain areas of my face, just because it's about noon, 1 o'clock, and I'm planning on staying up for a couple of more hours at least. I don't usually go to bed till about midnight, so if I want my makeup to last, I do have to put a little bit of powder on, and I'm also going to be cuddling with a puppy, and I don't want her to be covered in makeup. Mum's going to get a bit cross with me because then she'll need a bath, and she doesn't like being bathed. Though we take her in the shower and she hates the shower, so just going to pop a little bit of this on. And if there are any areas where I feel like I need a bit more coverage, I just dab a little bit of the product over. And you can see that gives a bit more coverage to that area, but without looking super heavy. And now, of course, the amount of makeup you want to put on and the amount of foundation you want to use, if you want to use the foundation at all, is up to you. I like this foundation a lot because when I apply it with my fingers, it shears out really nicely, but it is buildable, so I can just pat on any more in the areas that I need it. I'm just going to take a little bit extra underneath my eyes, just as a bit of extra coverage there, because although I haven't slept for too many hours, I don't really have super dark under eyes, but I do want to look a bit more awake. That's the whole point of why I put makeup on my face. So I am going to add in an extra step just because I want my makeup to stay in place, and I'm going to take a tiny bit of my Rimmel powder and just pop that on my T-zone, because that is where my makeup tends to rub off the quickest. I'm also going to take a tiny bit on the bottom half of my cheeks. Like so. I'm then going to pop a bit of highlight on, and I love wearing this when I'm also not wearing foundation. It was a trick that I actually discovered quite recently. I was skipping out on foundation one day, and I decided I wanted to try and pop a tiny bit of highlight on, and this is from Maybelline. It's in the shade 100. And because I have a lot of redness naturally to my cheeks, this actually looked really pretty. And I'm just going to quickly blend a little bit of that on, because this is a more pink tone highlight. So it actually did look really nice on my skin when I wasn't wearing any foundation as well, because it just gave a really nice sort of natural glow that wasn't super overpowering. But today I do want a bit of glow, so I'm going to add on a little bit more than I usually do. I'm then going to do my eyebrows, and I'm going to use my NYX micro brow pencil in the shade Blonde, and I'm not going to do anything major with them at all. I'm going to barely fill them in, and only fill them in where there are gaps and stuff, because as I said, I want my look today to be more natural, so I'm only going to keep it to the bare minimum. Now my brows, I can't get them to look identical at all. So I'm just aiming for a sort of similar shape and pray that they look okay. Now I have an optional step again, and this is a brow gel. I like to put brow gel in even if I'm doing something very simple, just because it adds a bit more texture and makes my brows look a bit more alive and not super drawn in, even though I haven't drawn a lot. But I just feel like it does make them look a bit more like brows. And I'm not sure if that does anything that is visible on the camera, but I do like how it looks in real life. So for my eyeshadow, I've taken an Artdeco long lasting eyeshadow stick, and this is in a sort of rose gold pink kind of shade. I don't think you can get this exact one, but I would recommend any kind of cream eyeshadow that dries down like a MAC paint pot, and there are probably tons of brands that make these. Maybelline colour tattoos are great, but go for something that is quick and easy to apply, and like this one has a shade that is brightening. I'm just popping that up on my eyelids all the way up to the crease. You can actually drag this all the way up to the brow bone and use it as a highlight, but I'm just going to keep it simple, and then I'm going to drag my finger across and just blend that edge, and that for me cancels out my veins, because I have a lot of visible veins and stuff on my eyelids, and it just helps brighten up the eye a little bit. You can also put this underneath the eyes, but I'm going to keep it to the top for today. I'm going to put my mascara on, and I've chosen my Tarte Lights Camera Splashes, which is a really nice natural looking mascara, which is what I like, because I like to give the appearance of a lot of lashes with nice length and volume, but without them clumping together. And this does exactly that. And this is also waterproof, and it was super sunny this morning, but now it's really grey and rainy outside, so hoping that it doesn't rain a whole lot. But just in case, I'm going to pop a bit of a waterproof mascara on, but I do have to curl my lashes. That is, of course, another optional step, but I have to do it, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. There it is, that's the mascara blob that I always do, but I'm going to clean that up in a second. Kind of wish you could see my lashes from this angle, because When I look at them from this angle, they actually look kind of nice. But of course, this is the most unflattering angle of all angles. So I kind of lied when I said there was only 6 steps to this, but of course you can add and subtract and do as many as you want. I do have to put a little bit of something on my lips because they are getting a bit dry. And I'm just going to pop on my Clarins Instant Light lip gloss, and this is in the shade 01. And it is one of my all-time favourite lip glosses because it's beautiful. It has a very sheer amount of colour, but it's really nice and moisturising. It works well with today's look, which is super nice and glowy. So I hope you like the look. Please tell me what kind of makeup you do, and if you've made a video, link it down below, of what you do with your makeup when you just want to quickly throw something on and you just use very minimal products. Now I hope you liked the video. This is a very quick one, but I did want to film a bit of something today, and I didn't want to do a full face of makeup because I'm just not up for it today. Hope you had a good week, and I will see you again very, very soon.